Hey guys, today is Monday and yeah, new trading day. Today was a really rough day, but ended up in the green. I have to be honest, I was very close to blowing my funded account. Today I had definitely really difficulties to stay in the trade, in the setup I basically was aware of. So the market maker buy model definitely had a really strong market maker buy model to the upside, especially with lunch. But yeah, it was really rough to me today. But I did not blow my funded and ended up in green. Today was really stressful, really emotional, as I typed out right here. But yeah, that's how it is sometimes. I still have to learn, especially with today. But today was really difficult, and especially right now, the daily conditions, overall AM session trading conditions are lately just really difficult, and I basically I try to become profitable in the most difficult conditions I've ever traded. So that's a bit rough, but it will get better. We have August, so yeah, let's just go into today's execution, into today's trade, and just let's break it down. So starting with the daily chart, it's obvious right here with the new week that we have a just bearish day. It was also we had those conditions before the opening. We scrapped already daily sales liquidity. We trade into the coordinates of the daily bullish gap right here, but we just really dumped lower. So really trending conditions lower for our chart right here. Basically same conditions. I think we can drop already to a hourly chart. Right here we already see that we are definitely respecting bearish, important bearish fell gap right here, respecting it, expanding lower. Once again bearish fell gap right here, respecting the upper quarter level, expanding once again now lower. So we should not really expect that if we trade a market maker bar model, we are going to see a huge expansion above, for example, the 9 a.m. high right here. NQ is just really looking bearish right now, so that's something I want you to make aware of. And yeah, with that, let's drop to a 50-minute chart. Right here, also really important. London. So how did the previous session basically trade? I'm recording this really late, so don't be confused. With Asia right here, Asia basically traded lower, London, but then accumulated, New Group kill zone accumulated. And why do we then displace lower? Because we have basically AMD, we have accumulation. And what's our manipulation? Our manipulation is right before the opening. And then we see distribution with 930. Our manipulation is right here, trading above this data high basically right here. That's our manipulation. And then we sold off, we had a distribution with the opening. And that's why we saw just this aggressive sell-off towards the downside within the AM session, because everything was aligned. AM was going to distribute lower towards New Group and kill zones as liquidity, London lows, and even more important targets. So the daily wick right here, also regular trading hours, we had really important targets. We expanded way beyond the opening prices lower. And before I go into the thinking process in here, I quickly want to show you regular trading hours, and then we can talk about the opening and the executions. So regular trading hours, as you know, I was completely interested, especially in the price range right here. Why? Because this new open range gap is completely inefficient. We don't see any prices in there, especially combined with right here. We also kind of lack on really, just printing bodies in here, especially right here. So definitely going to see or looking forward to see bodies getting placed right there. And that's what we saw today. So we had a premium gap towards the downside of around 150 handles. And from there on, we had a only down day. We never came back towards the 930 opening price, just trade lower. And as you see, AM basically trade all the way back towards the lower quadrant level or CE of the previous open range gap right here, and from there on we could frame a kind of first high resistance market maker buy model, but then with lunch we expanded higher, and yeah, PM took out lunch highs, and now we are still trading lower also with the last hour macro. So that's basically the regular trading hours conditions. So definitely also looking for lower prices on regular trading hours first, trading back into the open range gap, but being basically down here, we don't really want to see that we still close in the gap, because we're just already really oversold. But maybe the low right here of the previous open range gap is a target for yeah, the next sessions. So with that, I think we can go back to the executions and talk about really quick what my thinking process was with the opening. So basically right here, I was definitely looking forward for taking shorts. Would have liked that AIM just manipulates maybe a bit higher into New Open Kill Zone, says buys the liquidity, and from there maybe frame a really clean short. That could have been a possibility. But as you see, AIM just dumps lower, scrapped New Open Kill Zone, says liquidity and London lows, and trade back towards CE of the daily fair value gap. So therefore, this is right here really difficult, because right here I still want to see that we trade lower into the regular trading hours, so open range gap quadrants. But to take a short already from here is really aggressive. What I would have liked is that we see a manipulation above the high right here, or at least like displacement. That would have been, if we would have seen displacement in the manipulation leg right here, then it would have definitely went short, because I was just aware of the really strong higher time frame bearish trend. In that case, we are only allowed to take shorts in here, because we have the strong conviction that with the strong bearish trend we're going to deliver down towards the inefficient previous open range gap. That's really important. Also with the AMD session structure, having in mind that AIM is going to distribute lower, that's also why this short right here is still possible. Even though we scrapped every session size liquidity and we are below every opening price. But we do not see any displacement in here in the manipulation leg, and yeah, was thinking about taking the short also right here of base of the higher time frame consequent encroachment level right here, but to me that's just too much chasing price. I think I wanted to stay a bit more patient. Also the breakaway gap right here with displacing through CE was really beautiful. Just to see that we never were able to trade back into the gap right here is also really clean to see, because the bodies right here really failed to trade into it, because this right here is a breakaway gap, and that's indicating really strong bearishness, that we even failed to wick into the breakaway gap. We sold off once more into the low of the daily fair gap, and right basically from here I was looking for retracement, and basically went long right here based off the fair gap, the inversion fair gap, and got immediately basically stopped out right here. And this first loss is completely avoidable. We just have a not enough structure. This sell-off is right here really way too aggressive. We need to see manipulation first. That's completely obvious. In that case, we have to be more patient. So first loss is avoidable. Second loss is a bit different. So second long is basically now combined with SMT being in play. And that's why actually I like this long more. And if you would have actually the right stop loss placement applied, which is not possible for every trade, but just know, or as you know, your stop should always be below the SMT or the swing low. In that case, if we would have had our stop right here, we would have never gone stopped out. But in that case, it's just way too much. I mean, it's 50 handles. It's not even that much. That's the interesting thing. I think that's something also to keep in mind, that we maybe could also trade a bit differently. Maybe only trading one contract right here, keeping my stop right here and just aiming for the bigger picture in that case, as you see. But that's not how I really trade right now. So got stopped twice in that case, and was still looking for higher prices. I know I could have already stopped trading right here, but it's just, even though I'm getting basically stopped out right here, the setup is still not invalidated, and I'm still just In that case, also really, or having a strong conviction that we are going to see a market maker buy model taking place. It's just that I've seen it over and over and again, and yeah, it played out, and I just have to be more patient with the 10 AM macro. So the 10 AM macro is not always delivering already a market maker buy model in that case against such a strong high time frame bearish trend. We have to be more patient, especially if we lack on structure, especially if we lack on a more important P area on the high time frame. In that case, we are only trading to the low of a bullish value gap. That's not really enough, and especially on the high time frame. I think if we drop to a hourly chart, we can also see that we're not really able to already trade higher from there, because it was before 10 AM. So we are trading within the 9 AM hourly candle, and therefore this hourly candle is really bearish, and we are going to see a really strong body towards the downside. So we should not really expect that this body is closing, so that this hourly candle is closing around the high time frame gap. This body is going to close very low. I don't know if you can follow, but that's why we are trading too early. We have to wait, especially we have to wait for or after 10 AM in that case. That would be definitely better, and that's also what we did right here. I entered once more long right here, a bit too aggressive. We did not close above the inversion gap, but I was aware that we only trade perfectly to CE right here, and once again created SMT. So the market maker bar model really looked clean. Also, we had this really strong manipulation in that case, or not, sorry guys, we had the strong distribution, so displacement within the manipulation leg, because now I don't want to see lower prices. So to me, this right here is manipulation, especially combined with the SMT. And once again, this long is not really wrong. We just have to keep a right stop loss, which would be below the SMT, and we would have never gotten stopped out. Once again, really long or wide stop, 56 handles. That's why I get stopped so many times, because I cannot apply the right stop loss placement, because it's just too volatile. But that's something I maybe have to overthink, maybe something I have to journal, maybe something I have to do different in the future. Once again, went long right here. Once again, perfectly long actually. Setup is still in play, and everything looked good, but got stopped right here. In that case, it's, I think, a bit unfortunate as well. But once again, just a wider stop. In that case, we are also in that case now lower towards it. So in that case, it would only be a 40-point stop. So that could have been definitely possible. But yeah, once again, SMT was still convinced in my bias. We did not close below the inversion gap, so I could definitely enter in there. So we have to check something really quick. Okay. And yeah, then I entered long right here, and that was basically my last long. I was aware that 1030 has to distribute higher, so I definitely want to be in the trade. And yeah, many losses in here, but the setup doesn't change. It's just basically wrong stop loss placement, and that's why I still continue trading, even if it looks, or even if it sounds, taking so many trades really horrible. But to me, that's definitely over trading, but that's not revenge trading. That's definitely something different, because I'm still following my approach. I'm still following my concept. Going long in here, and now something, so this would have been completely clean, but what really changed a lot, as I typed it out right here, the stop out is insane how one ad changed everything. As you know, I entered right here, and so now my position is right here. And I typed also out a long close macro. So I'm aware of the fact that we have this 5-minute balance price range right here. So you also see that right here. And I'm definitely aware of the fact that the long close macro is definitely going to trade back into this. And there I want basically to accumulate once more a position, or just add to my position. And what we did is basically right here with 10:45, we had already this SMT being in play, and I thought, okay, ES already did the job for NQ, we're going to trade higher with the long close macro, but that was not enough. And the long right here, the add-on, was way too overbought in that case. So I'm buying way too much in a premium, and that's why my position was trading so much higher, and that's why I basically got stopped out right here. And that's not unfortunate as it looks like. It's just completely unnecessary. So I should have just been more patient. That's the right here, the manipulation with the long closed macro. That's a short-term run on stops. We are sweeping every stops which got trailed before basically our lunch distribution. And we also had SMT in play, so kind of a bit unfortunate it is, definitely, but where we are trading to. We are trading back to the lower quadrant of the daily ferrule gap, so that's completely avoidable. And if I just had not added or added at a better, more discount price, my position would have been a bit lower and I could have still adjusted a more reasonable stop. I had to keep a really tight stop because otherwise my account would have been blown. Yeah, today was really rough. Re-entered and I think I had only like $100 over basically. So for drawdown, that's how to call it. And but I was aware of the fact, okay, the manipulation is done, we are going to expand higher, especially with 11:30, so with lunch getting in. So added right here, also added right here, institution order flow within the inverter gap. So once again, displacement within the manipulation leg, and then we just completely traded aggressively higher, swept AM session liquidity right here, traded back to the upper quadrant level. And where did I exit it? So I basically measured the price range in that case from where it was, from the low right here to the high. I could have also done it maybe a bit different, I think, the price range, but that's just how we did it. It could have been also, let me check, maybe something like this. It could have been definitely also possible, also maybe like this, or even like this, and we hit this as well. So that could have been also possible, but just basically measuring from the low to the high right here, because then our retracement took place. The stop should have been also then below CE of the price range, and where we drawing to just minus 0.5 extension of our price range. That's something I was looking at. And let me check, where did I hit it? I forgot. Right here. And yeah, basically had then 4 contracts on, exited right here, and are now up. So really clean delivery afterwards, but yeah, that's basically it. Not allowed to be emotional, but let's fucking go. Really painful day, I have to admit. I have to change a lot, but I think you got what I mean. So definitely to think about my stop loss placement. And what I wanted to share you as well is ES. So ES was looking really bullish, especially right here. That's why I also added on NQ, but then we saw this really aggressive sell-off, but still ES came up and was just in that case manipulating lower to be aligned with NQ and trading aligned with NQ higher, and then also sweeping not only the AM session, so 930 high, but also almost I think the European kill zone by liquidity. So yeah, that's also really interesting that we took out the 10.30.13 low that would be on NQ, the low right here. So that's really insane. So we had a huge SMT also being in play right here. So that's maybe also something to be aware of, why we have to kind of now also a really strong conviction that this low right here should not get taken out. But that's basically the trade. So I hope you understand why I took so many trades, why I still call it over trading and not revenge trading. Definitely some points about stop loss placement I have to rethink, but I'm still proud of the overall setup. Definitely have to journal a bit different, but yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Safe trading, guys, and see you soon.